I am Nicole Rose Gellarmino, and I'm a teaching artist. Welcome to my project on collage characters. Materials you will need are some magazines or free catalogs on stuff that you can buy. National Geographics are ideal, but any magazines will do. Just stuff with images printed on them or old artwork that you don't really have any other use for. And you will need a pair of scissors. You will need glue. I prefer white glue. I like to put it in a little sauce container that I got from my to-go dinner. I wash it out, pour some white glue into that little container so that I can reuse it later on. You'll want to unscrew the entire cap off. Then I like to use a glue spreader instead of pouring it out of the little nozzle because it makes a gooey mess and it makes my collages bumpy. So instead I use a glue spreader, which can be made from a tongue depressor with the ends cut off, or just a strip of cardboard works great. And finally, you'll need some paper. The first step to creating a gorgeous collage is collecting lots of inspiring imagery. I recommend just spending some time chilling with your magazines and your seed catalogs and looking for colors and textures and patterns that excite you. You may not know why you like those yet, and that's okay. You don't have to have a grand idea, and that is the beauty of collage because the materials will make the idea known to you. Just pull pages out that you like. I really highly recommend pulling the whole page out, and then when you're done with that magazine, just putting it aside for later. It just keeps your collage project way more manageable and less messy, and it also keeps your magazines more tidy for using in the future. So just pull that whole page out and make a fun stack. You might not use every single thing you pull out. You might end up only using a few of them for this project, but maybe the ones that you don't use this time, you'll use them next time. Don't think about it too hard. Just pull out everything that you like. Once you have a stack of images that you're very excited about, the next step is to start cutting. You can cut out the textures and patterns in the shapes that they already come in the magazine, or you may choose to cut out your own shapes. So if a texture comes in a circular shape in the picture, you might cut a diamond out of it. In this case, I'm actually cutting along the edges of these cacti. Now notice that I'm cutting straight with my scissors. My scissors are not curving or turning at all, really. The turning is being done by the paper. My supportive hand, in this case, I happen to be right-handed, so my supportive hand is my left hand, is holding the paper, and my left hand is doing all the turning work. Check that out. Paper turning. The scissors are just cutting straight. That protects my wrist from things like carpal tunnel, which is no fun, and also it gives me way more control over the shape that I'm trying to cut. This second image I've selected is of a gold miner covered in toxic mud. As you collect your images, I encourage you to think about the stories behind these images. What ideas do you have about these stories? What feelings do you have about these stories? What story are you telling? This rich, juicy salmon fillet looks delicious, but I thought it might be funny to cut it into a wing shape. Now that I've cut a handful of shapes, I can begin arranging them on the page. This is a moment of play. It's like making a puzzle that has no particular way it should be put together. The only way you will discover the secret of your particular, unique, mysterious puzzle with all its many strange textures, colors, patterns, and shapes is simply by playing with the arrangement. The arrangement means where are the different elements on the paper and in relationship to each other? Where do they overlap? If you're really thinking about designing a character in this process, you may choose to cut out textures that can be arm-like shapes or legs, or cutting out a texture or pattern that then becomes a torso or a face or an eye or an ear. The list goes on. And then you're basically assembling the body parts from different images. Or you can just assemble the pieces and then maybe add one recognizable body part, or maybe just none. Maybe it's a monster-like character that has multiple legs, or no arms, or tails, or fins. There's no wrong or right way to create a character. Once you have created the arrangement that you like the most, I recommend taking a picture of it, because when you glue, you kind of have to take the pieces apart, and then you have to glue them back together. If you're gluing onto a background paper, you're going to want to glue from back to front. That means the pieces that are on the very, very bottom are going to need to be glued first, and then you layer the next ones on top of that, and then the next ones, until the last piece you glue on is the piece that is not overlapped by any of the others, that is completely on the top. I recommend also getting a piece of scrap from the magazine pages, something that you'll never want to, something that you would just throw away, and using that as part of your gluing process. So you'll pick up the shape that you want to glue, turn it upside down, dip your spreader in the glue, and spread that glue onto the back of the shape, making sure to bring the glue all the way to the edges. Once you've finished your collage, let it dry, and then celebrate your work. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate your creativity. Celebrate your genius idea. Celebrate this funny project that maybe had some failures but had some successes too. Celebrate yourself for taking a risk and trying something new. Thank you so much for joining me. This video was made in collaboration between myself, Nicole Rose Gellermino, and the Luther Burbank Center for the Arts. Please revisit for another Let's Be Creative video next Tuesday at 3:30 p.m.